So, welcome everyone. Good to see you all. This is our bi-weekly Eastside Neighborhood Regional Action Plan wrap meeting, where we're focused on the impact of homelessness in the Eastside neighborhood of Santa Barbara. My name is Landon Rank. I'm the Associate Director with SB Act, and we are facilitating this regional action plan in partnership with the City of Santa Barbara as a part of our broader South County strategic plan to address homelessness in our South County Collaborative. So I'm joined by Barbara Anderson, who's spearheading that effort, along with Elizabeth Stott, who just joined the call. So the way that these meetings work is that we'll typically have some just general announcements about issues related to homelessness at the beginning. Then we'll open it up for community member questions and concerns. And then we'll go to the service providers just to hear updates about what they're doing and seeing on the ground. So I just want to start today, since we have a few new faces on the call, with some general notes about these calls. First is that if this is your first time, you may hear some language you're not familiar with. We do try to use people first language on these calls, which essentially just means that if we're talking about somebody who's experiencing homelessness, we try to refer to them as a person first rather than a homeless person, just reminding us of all of our common humanity. We do sometimes have questions about homeless versus houseless, because what's interesting is that the HMIS and our point in time count results show that the majority of people experiencing homelessness, almost 3/4, are from Santa Barbara County before they experienced homelessness. So in some ways they are home, but they're without a house. And still, we'll use that homeless terminology just because it's more commonly known. We will be talking about issues related to mental health and substance abuse. And we do want to just remind everyone that, again, we want to keep using people first language in all of this, remembering that this is often more of an effect than a cause for homelessness, but it is still something we're deeply concerned about. So it's definitely something we want to be on our radar. And then just a reminder that there's no monolith experience with homelessness. We've got families, we've got people living in vehicles, we've got all kinds of stories and situations. So it's important to just keep that in mind as we discuss these issues. And then finally, just want to note that really the purpose of these calls is not to be blame oriented, but rather to be solution oriented. So we really do need to hear where there are issues and when there are issues. But the purpose of this is not to figure out who is to blame, but rather, okay, how do we fix this moving forward? So we really do encourage you to share with us any concerns you have and help us keep solutions focused in these discussions. Any questions about that before we jump in? Okay. So just a couple general announcements. Our next Eastside Rep meeting will be our quarterly Path CUP presentation. We rescheduled that because of my scheduling mishap from our last meeting a couple weeks ago. So that will be on the 26th at 10 a.m. And then the next normal Eastside Rep meeting will be on August 9th at 10 a.m. Our next neighborhood walk will be in the State Street neighborhood. We'll be meeting at City Hall on Monday, August 12th at 12:30 p.m. We do these walks on a monthly basis in different hotspots. So last month we did a walk starting down at the Rainbow statue and up Milpas. And the purpose of these walks is to try to both hear from the business owners and community members in that neighborhood about homelessness issues they're seeing, and then also to educate them about resources, as well as to try to engage with the individuals experiencing homelessness in that neighborhood. So it's a really good just educational opportunity. It's a good opportunity for us to get to know each other too, since we're all trying to work on these issues. So I encourage you to join us if you can. Wanted to note some good news. This slide is old, but the news about it is that so with this new tiny home or cabin village that opened at the former juvenile hall site, there are 80 units total, and these are transitional housing. So it's creating more beds for people to move to, and hopefully free up more beds in our emergency shelters as well. So all in all, just making our flow better for homelessness services. But the good news I wanted to share is that half of those beds are specifically for behavioral health clients. So individuals with significant, whether it's mental health or substance use concerns. And so they will be receiving specific tailored services there. So what we're hoping to see is that as these individuals begin moving into the transitional housing, we'll see less and less of some of these high concern individuals on the streets. which will be hopefully beneficial for our entire community. And the first couple of individuals have just started moving in the last few weeks. So I believe 15 are now in those 40 units, and they'll keep moving in over the next few weeks. And then finally, just one general announcement. So we did open the new daytime navigation center in downtown Santa Barbara on Chapala Street. And so this is a space that's open 5 days a week, currently 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., just a place for people to go to be able to sit, have some food, have a drink of water, but then primarily to help connect them with housing navigation, workforce development services. So we're hoping that this serves as both a place of relief for our communities that are heavily impacted by homelessness, but also just a place of relief and navigation for those individuals experiencing homelessness. So we encourage you to just join with us and helping spread the word about this. We will have little info cards that we can share soon. I don't have the website pulled up right now, but I do want to just put Andrew on the spot since we have some new faces to talk briefly about the SB Connect app. Andrew, would you take it?
Yeah, thanks, Landon. Yeah, SB Connect is a great resource we have now available here at the city. It's basically a platform where really you can submit requests, a variety of different things related to the city, but as it pertains sort of to this meeting and what we do in code enforcement, it's a great place to submit requests about things that you might see while you're out and about and around town, issues of illegal dumping, encampments, just general things that would be concerning in the neighborhood. It's really simple to use, very user friendly. You can, create a profile and work with your requests that way. You can also submit them anonymously. But the workflow is very simple, as you can see on the screen there. It's just the ability to submit a request. You input a little bit of information and kind of move through the process of basically giving us as much information as you can, and pictures always appreciated. So it's a great resource to streamline the process of getting requests into us and bringing things to our attention, and that way we can kind of expedite cleanup or address those issues as easily as possible. So we definitely just encourage anyone, as you see things, we can write back to you, we can comment, and it's a really good solution for us to all kind of work together to address neighborhood concerns.
I just wanted to add a couple of points to what Andrew shared. This includes our partner providers too. If you see something while you're out and about engaging with folks, graffiti, illegal dumping, an encampment pops up that you've been able to engage the folks, but it hasn't been reported yet. We encourage anyone and everyone to submit requests through the system. There's all these really specific categories that come up in terms of your concern. And then that goes to a predetermined channel of city staff to be able to respond. So we really do rely on this application to, again, be as responsive as we can to community members throughout the city.
Thank you both. So we encourage you all to download the app if you don't already have it, or you can use the online portal. And then related to that, SB Act has worked with the city to create these homelessness response business cards that have the basic numbers to call for different kinds of issues as well. And so, for example, if it's a non-emergency behavioral health concern, somebody's having a behavioral health crisis on the street, but it's not necessarily a direct threat or danger to themselves or others, there's a phone number for that type of issue specifically. Or there's a phone number to call to our different homeless outreach providers for the Eastside neighborhood specifically. So if you would like any of those cards, I'm going to put my email in the chat window. Let me know, and I'm happy to drop some off to you. Right. So with all that having been said, we're going to go ahead and open it up for community members to share questions and concerns before we go to our service providers. So let's go ahead and open it up.
I'd like to start, if I could. I don't want to take up too much time. I've already met with Liz on this issue, so I just wanted to bring it to the attention of this forum. And Liz has been very, very helpful in in helping us facilitate a neighborhood meeting around the Quarantina, De La Guerra, Canon Perdido, Santa Barbara Junior High, up to Ortega Park, that area from Milpas, near where the Jehovah Witness Church is, has just been a hot spot for folks living in their vehicles, and totally understandable. However, it being in the pathway of Santa Barbara High School, Santa Barbara Junior High, and the Boys and Girls Club, has been an issue, more predominantly in the spring semester, and up to today. And so I'm gonna not overspeak, and I think Liz can share some of the action that the city is taking. And so what I've done is I've reached out to her to see if we could host a neighborhood meeting here that involves the Boys and Girls Club, Santa Barbara Unified, Providence School, the Jehovah Witness Church, and the impacted neighborhood and neighbors. And so, Liz, if you don't mind, I'm going to put you on the spot and tell us where we are with organizing that and some of the resources that you identified when I spoke to you. And I really appreciate the time that you provided so that I can communicate out to all the other folks to let them know that, and as you and I both agree, that, you know, this isn't going to be taken care of overnight. It's going to take time, but there is some light down at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. I think we've brought it up a couple times in this area. We're all familiar with the area that Mark is talking about. And this is the area that has been one of the areas that's been prioritized with the SURF 3 grant for the state of California for encampment resolution with New Beginnings. So the community meeting that Mark was talking about, we're still trying to get pinned down when everybody can get together in one room, Mark. There's a lot of people with multiple schedules, and some of the key people are out of the state in July. So getting people schedules aligned is where we're at right now, but we do want to keep this meeting going. So I'm still working on getting a date. We're now looking per the request of some of our staff to have it after school starts, the second week of school. I had suggested before school starts, and the parents in our staff did not think that was a good idea, because getting ready for school when you have kids is kind of a challenge. So they figured once school starts on the 19th, parents are settled in, they can have a community meeting. So we're looking at the week of the 26th to have this meeting. In the meantime, New Beginnings has been out there. They did a site visit last week. That area is still the #1 priority area to address and start enrolling people. So they have been hiring quite a few people. They're well on their way to hiring all the staff they need to start doing that outreach. So we expect to start those enrollments in the next month or so. So we should have more information to report by the time we have the community meeting. In the interim, our sustainability and resilience team put a sign out asking people to respect the neighborhood, to minimize illegal dumping. And our understanding is that it's improved. And I think Andrew can probably speak to that part. There was one more point and it left me. So, but that's where we're at with that project.
And Mark, we really want to be sensitive to timing. So if there's a smaller group of stakeholders that we can meet with a smaller city staff team earlier, we're happy to do that. But this community meeting is a priority for our police chief and our city administrator. So the scheduling is a little challenging, but we want to have the right folks. So happy to compromise if there's a smaller group, and then we can do a larger community meeting when there's more available staff, whatever you need to get information out and address the concerns. I also wanted to specifically state that we are in between a rock and a hard place on this, because the encampment resolution funding from the state requires people to be enrolled before they're displaced. right? So we can't enact enforcement strategies in that area. So for instance, restricting, encampments, vehicular or otherwise, within school zones, because it'll displace that entire group right now, and they will not be able to access those services if they're in a different location than has been prioritized through the grant. So Mark, I know you understand grant funding. So we're trying to, we've made this the #1 priority region for New Beginnings to enroll as many people as possible, because once they're enrolled and they go to another location, the services go with them, but they need to be enrolled first. So that's the reason why we ask for your patience, is that we will put measures in place, but we need these folks enrolled to make sure that they get the support that they need. But happy to be responsive in whatever way or shape or form that you need us to be for the surrounding neighborhood.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, and I totally understand, what needs to happen in order for the enforcement piece to go into effect. But I think in hearing both you and Liz speak, I think it probably would be better to wait until we have all the pieces of the puzzle together, all the right folks together, so that everybody hears it all at one time, and so that there's not two different meetings or messages going out. And you very well know people take certain things and say other things, and then before you know it, we have a different scenario that's not reality. So I would prefer that we would wait, as Liz has suggested.
That's great.
And get all the right players, even for us, some folks in the district's offices and other folks that need to are on vacation as well.
Okay.
So I think it makes sense. I'm just glad that we're kind of in front of it right now, and we understand. And another piece of this too on our end, but not necessarily, but from the community side of it, I've already met with the school district about the overgrowth of the canopy from the armory and the shrubs that are there. And so they're like, well, what is the city's and what is ours? And so I just said, take care of the trees first, get those trimmed back, because what's happening is, there's a truck going by, excuse me. What's happening is that folks with the bigger vehicles, with the campers, are creating sheltering off from their vehicle into the trees, and making it unsafe for pedestrians to cross on that side of De La Guerra Street. And so I've explained that to the district, that we need to get all of that remediated and removed even before we even do anything, because we have to do our part as a community to contribute to the health and safety as well. So we did some work along Quarantina, cutting back trees, and especially on our side next to the church. You guys might be familiar with that field that is between the church and our ball field. We went in there and we cleaned all of that out.
I saw them working. That was amazing. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, so we're trying, bit by bit to get all this together, but I as you very well know, I've been where you guys have sat before, and so as long as we're taking action, and there's a goal and there's objectives, and we're providing a strategy, the community just has to understand the time and patience that's required to see these things through. So I'm here on both sides to help.
Thank you, Mark. And Liz, I think you reached out to the school district about vegetation management too.
Yeah, Christine Schwartz, the director of New Beginnings, reached out, and I offered to also be part of conversations to talk about how we can collaborate on addressing some of the overgrowth.
There might be financial resources for the school district, is what we're saying, to help. So yeah, I'm glad they've heard from multiple parties now. That's excellent.
Yeah, and I think the immediate thing now is, and we can send this out in an email to all the players, Liz, is kind of that number that folks can call when there's like an immediate crisis going on with folks. We've had a couple of those where folks have just discarded all their personal items and trash all over the sidewalk, and it just needs to get cleaned up immediately. And it's unfortunate that folks are struggling with these things at that time, but I think if we can get something out to the folks just on the interim, saying, hey, this is the number to call to get to address a crisis situation, because they do pop up periodically.
And I think that resource card that Landon talked about earlier would be great. And then the SB Connect, sharing that widely with the neighbors. you need
And
something.
Mark, now that you're open to, Liz can drop off like the business card that we have for where folks can call, the information on the Faro Center, the day center that's now open, as you interact with individuals, coming in and out of the club for sure.
And the other side of the coin for me here at the Boys and Girls Club, since we started our drop-in program this week, that we have participants that are homeless kids that are living in vehicles, kids that are in foster care or in crisis right now. And so this is a safe place for them just during the day. But just wanted to put that out there that there'll probably be some referral calls or calls for service when we identify certain situations as we move forward. But definitely the population is being served here as well.
And Shannon is on the call, and she has a great resource for any
yeah, I was just about to speak. So we're the Channel Islands YMCA Youth and Family Services, and we are right on the corner of Haley and Quarantino. We serve homeless and housing insecure youth between the ages of 18 and 24. It's also a drop-in center. So we're there for housing navigation, any kind of resources, food, shower, laundry, storage. And the drop-in hours there are 9 to 1, Monday through Saturday.
And Mark, I know you're dealing with folks that are a little bit younger than that, but obviously if parents are willing and open, wherever they're comfortable, we can come to the club. We can meet them at the Faro Center. We can facilitate that as whatever is based on their need.
Yeah. Nose Anchorage has drop-in hours too.
Right.
Just FYI. So.
Also in your communication with the district, and sorry, I was just on a call, so maybe I missed this if you said you're already working with them, but definitely connecting with the homeless liaisons. Because the district, and I don't know if that school specifically has a liaison, but there's a district liaison for homelessness, and they have money specifically around homelessness. And so while their funds are like specifically serving students experiencing homelessness, there's a lot of like flexibility and like different things that they can do with their funds and programming. So I think that it'd be good to loop them into the conversations.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that would be Shekenya Edison, because we had a homeless liaison last school year, but this school year we didn't. So everything ran through Shekenya's office. And I'm not sure if they're going to be hiring a specific individual, but you're exactly right. And in fact, Shekenya and myself and John Shetler, her executive director, are working out some daytime uses here at the club for kids that are vulnerable, meals, just a safe place for them to come if they have no place to be at 7 o'clock in the morning when parents go to work, that we could be here to serve breakfast and just to be a safe holding place until school starts. And so, and even staying open. We've already guaranteed that we'll keep our hours at least till 8 p.m. and not shutting at 5 like the previous tenant was. So we're going to just keep our hours longer so kids have a safe place, especially when it gets dark after 6 o'clock in the fall. So we're working to address all, this is like we're having to resuscitate this building to meet the needs of the community, but this forum here is a great resource. So I appreciate that.
You might also, if you haven't already, connect with the County Education Office Education for Homeless Children and Youth program, because they also have a lot of flexible funding and are very connected with all of the liaisons throughout the county.
So thank you, Mark. Appreciate you bringing that up, and we'll try and work with you and Liz to make sure that stays like we're able to keep everyone on this call in the loop as that moves forward.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the time.
Yeah, thanks for being here. I see Natalia left the call, but we'll come back to her if she rejoins. Were there any other questions or concerns from the community before we go to the providers?
Yeah, I have one.
Go ahead, Jesse.
This one's for you, Al, if you're on. Um, I've been noticing there's this couple that are in a fairly decent, nice looking black Hyundai four-door car. It's an elderly woman with her older daughter. Obviously, they're together. They're experiencing homelessness, and they eat a lot at McDonald's. I can tell that they're very concerned about their health. You know, they wear masks. They have like their little cleaning rituals and stuff like that. So I was just wanting to know if you and your team were ever out there, if you ever see them there, maybe they could be approached. Maybe they might want services, but I've been seeing them out here for a little while now. Just wanted to throw that
Absolutely.
out.
Yeah, thank you, Jess. And I know you always reach out, so continue doing so. I know we usually go back and forth. So, do you know a time roughly? Because I'll have the team, I'll send them a message right now.
They're usually there around breakfast time, sometime between 8 and 9.
Between 8 and 9,
Yeah,
and it's a mother and her
yeah,
daughter.
yeah. Daughter's probably maybe in her late 50s. Mother's a little elderly, and you can tell they spend a lot of time sitting up in their car.
Okay, and it's a black Honda Accord?
Yeah, it's a small four-door black Hyundai. It's nice,
Huh.
decent looking new one, and it has only one Arizona plate in the back.
Oh, Arizona.
Are they parked in the same location generally
Yes, they're usually right in front in the handicap
of the McDonald's?
of the McDonald's. Yes.
But they don't sleep there.
No, they don't sleep there, but
Okay.
I've seen them there. They frequent there quite a bit when they
Okay.
eat. And then there's one other concern too. I don't know if I think you've addressed this one time, Al.
Huh.
There's still one individual in that dumpster behind the Wells Fargo on Milpas.
Behind the Wells Fargo?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have engaged with that individual a couple times. I know one time we were able to get him to like move along for that day. I'll actually have the team reach out as well because it's right there, and I'm trying to get him over to the Faro Center.
Great, great. Yeah, I just felt really bad for the
Yeah,
couple in that
no problem.
car.
Yeah, we're gonna let all them know. You know, of course, we want engagement services. The mother and daughter, we want to see if they've connected with New Beginnings yet, since it sounds like they're have vehicular homelessness. But of course, we want to support them. We definitely will offer all of them. We want them to go check out the Faro Center, you know, and we have, you know, to make sure they're connected with all the resources, especially if they sound like they like to be in a safe space, you know, at
Yes.
McDonald's or in their vehicle. The Faro Center will be perfect for them. So
Okay.
I'll get on that today, Jess.
Great. All right. Thank you very much.
No problem. Thank you.
Thanks, Jesse. Appreciate you
You're
using this forum for that. And then also, if for anyone, if you ever have concerns like that Jesse just shared, and let's say it's not the week of an Eastside Rap meeting, you can mark them in the SB Connect app, even if you're not like at the site right then. You can move the whatever map pin. You can say they're typically there these times of day, that sort of thing, and then that information will get passed along to the CityNet team or Homeless Outreach Services. So.
Yeah.
So please feel free to use this forum for that. Please also use SB Connect app so we have that data saved.
Yep. And those SB Connect reports for individuals in need come to Barbara and I, so we triage them and make sure that there is follow-up on those.
All right. Appreciate all you guys' work.
Yeah, thank you, Jesse. All right, anything else before we turn to the service providers?
Yeah, the ongoing occupation of the sidewalks in front of Path. And I noticed that PD went out this week and got people to move along. So shout out to the boys in blue. And what else are we doing on that front, please?
Natasha, the city administrator and the police chief met with PATH local and statewide leadership actually just yesterday. So we have a list of action items that we put together since, I'd say, last March, that are prioritizing what can be done sooner rather than later. There's also interest in, again, after a city administrator and police chief engage with the Ramirez family, to move some of those action items that have financial impacts to them up in the list, and where that the city can look for financial resources to be able to address that. So it continues to be a priority. Sergeant Beltran can speak to that. we haven't let up at all. And actually, I think, again, the interest from our city leadership in continuing to improve the area is top of mind. So please know that it hasn't, yeah, it has not left our priority area at all.
Sergeant Beltran, did you
Thank you.
want to? Yeah, go ahead.
I could just only second that is just exactly what Barbara said is I can definitely say that that's not a priority that has slipped from us. It's definitely one of, if not the top priority for us. Yeah, we focus a lot of our efforts down there and it's the topic of conversation every day for us. So yeah.
Yeah, I just drove by the other day and watched some gal administering a syringe to some guy, and she didn't look like a nurse. And you know, I mean, I get it. It's like this boat with a hole, and you keep using the bucket to get the water out, but the boat's got the hole. And I'm glad you guys are starting to address the hole. I super appreciate that. Thanks, Barbara.
Yeah, no, our comprehensive approach is being prioritized at the highest level. So we're going to continue conversations with the city administrator and the police chief and PATH leadership.
So with that, why don't we go to our outreach teams just to hear updates? And if we can just go back to Sergeant Beltran to start, will you share about your Eastside activities?
Yeah, we've just refocused over the last several months, but more recently the several weeks is several just directed patrols, I guess, in the area of 700-800 Cacique and lower Milpas area, because we know those are high impact areas right now. So we've just been focusing a lot of efforts down there. We've focused some efforts down at Dwight Murphy in that area as well. And I would say the numbers suggest, I mean, it kind of helps for a short period of time, but then eventually it just comes right back, which is why it remains a priority for us. I think there's, like we've been talking about, it's going to take a lot of other potentially financially impactful things that are going to need to come into play for us to really solve it long term.
Thank you, Sergeant. And then let's go to our CityNet team.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Yeah, so we've been actually out in the east side area in Cacique every single day. There's been a lot of engagement. I actually drove by there a couple of days ago as well. It actually wasn't as much activity. There's always activity going on. There wasn't as much activity, you know, as there's been. It's kind of, I've noticed in the past 2 weeks when I've been in that area, it's kind of even flow, and that's because one day, usually, you know, 1 or 2 day PD's there. We're stopping by every day. The city's their enforcement. So it's been an up and down thing, but I want you guys to know we have been down there every day. And now, especially with our Monday weekends team, we're out there during the mornings and on during the afternoon. So we kind of switch up, whether it's Thursday, we hit it when they start work around 11:30, 12. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we try to hit it up usually before 10. On the weekends, we'll be there in the later afternoon and in the morning. So that area is getting a lot of attention from us. We are in good communication with PATH and their leadership in support. And then Susie and the team out there continue to communicate with us with any specific emergencies at times that would need our support. We have been providing coverage in the Dwight Murphy Park area. We've ran into a couple of individuals over there, primarily connected with New Beginnings and vehicular homelessness. There wasn't a large uptick in the Eastside Beach area during the holidays for us, but we are trying to keep a lookout on. There's 2 individuals that we do see there consistently in that area. But that's what I have any updates for you right now. And I think between the last time I've been on here, I know our team has came out there to the Marburg in front path a couple of times just to try to support Susie and the team out there on some concerns that happen throughout the days.
Thanks, Al. And then let's go to Liz and the PATH team.
Thank thank you. Yeah, there is, like Al said, it's ebbs and flows. Some days it's super busy down here, and other days I walk down the street coming to work, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so quiet. I think I should think that, because then the next time I walk down the street, there's a lot of activity. But we're out there as much as we can be. We have our interim housing team supporting, going out and kind of connecting with people who are directly in front of the building as well, trying to help see, where can we help get them to. Right now, there's a lot of people who are new and who we don't know and haven't seen around before. And people are not really interested in connecting with any kind of services. I even asked somebody the other day, like, hey, can I help you get somewhere else? And she's like, why do I want to go somewhere else? And it's like, oh, well, we have, and told her about some opportunities for connection, whatever. And her response was essentially, why are people always telling me to go somewhere else and complaining about me? And so we're out there constantly trying. We're still interviewing as well. We had several interviews this week for a new outreach worker, because that's going to be key with all of these new folks that we see, is building those relationships and building that trust to get them to a place where they're ready to connect. And so that's where we're at with that. We've kind of doubled down on making sure that it is not path participants out there, and that folks who are staying with us are not out front, so that people are not coming to like see people who are staying here, so that when we're out there doing our outreach, we can ensure that it's to people who are not already connected. But yeah, every day, just doing what we can. Appreciate definitely, Susie, when you reach out and let us know about specific things that we can respond to in the moment, and we do our best to get out there as quickly as we can.
Thank you, Liz. Appreciate you working, especially with those path clients. And I know we miss Odin, and I'm sure your team does too. So we'll be excited to hear. Let's go to
We
Andrew.
miss Odin too.
Yeah. Actually, let's go to Shannon with the YMCA team.
Good morning. Right now we are only doing outreach on the east side, one afternoon a week. The day varies, it depends on staffing. We'll go back to 2 afternoons a week, but we have 2 openings for outreach case managers. So we're down to 1 week for now until we get those 2 positions filled. But this week we had 4 lease signings, and we have another individual moving into our transitional living today, and then another one on Monday.
That's great. Thanks, Shannon. And let's go to Andrew with code enforcement.
Yeah, thanks, Landon. From the code enforcement side, I can echo a bit what Liz was saying in regards. We have been seeing some new faces out there around Dwight Murphy Field and whatnot. So working with those folks to kind of educate them and address those same issues that we see a lot around Sycamore Creek and the zoo, along Cassique there, and then also a lot of attention towards the De La Guerra area that we were discussing earlier. Again, we are cleaning that on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday with an in-depth litter pickup. We have Marburg servicing those trash cans there that are impacted as much as we can. So putting a lot of effort in there to keep it as clean as we can while those wheels get in motion. Other than that, we've focused a lot on the creek, like I was saying, some different areas of it that we aren't always able to address, that sometimes go unseen. There are some smaller encampments that we've found and been working with those individuals, but all in all, generally sticking with the hot spots that we're used to, and kind of addressing those new faces. And it's been very nice having the Faro Center as a resource now to be able to hand out flyers and say that there is somewhere else to go and find some good resources. So
Thanks, Andrew. Right, everyone. I think that ends our check-ins for today. I do want to save a little bit of time for our service providers to do a quick check-in. So we'll go ahead and close the meeting for community members. I do appreciate the conversation today, all the individuals raised, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Thanks all.
Thank you, everybody.